1959 was a year of jukebox neon, sawdust dance floors, and country voices that knew how to tell the truth. Jim Reeves was smoothing Heartache into velvet with Am I That Easy to Forget?
Where you gonna go, yo, bimbo, bimbo? What you gonna do, yo, bimbo, bimbo?
And Ray Price was about to give the whole world Heartaches by the number.
And I'll be here if you should find.
These are 12 country songs from 1959 that still feel like home. Number 12, Who Shot Sam by George Jones. We open with George Jones in full storytelling mode. Released in 1959 on Mercury Records, Who Shot Sam followed the success of White Lightning, proving that Jones could turn mischief into a chart-climbing hit. The song reached the top 10 on the Billboard country charts, fueled by its lively tempo and comedic energy. Legend has it the song drew inspiration from classic honky-tonk bar brawls Jones had witnessed on the road. There's a playful mystery at the center of it, no tragedy, just a wink and a grin. Picture a small-town roadhouse on a Saturday night, boots tapping, laughter echoing, jukebox glowing, and this tune spinning as glasses clink. Though often overshadowed by Jones' more tearful ballads, Who Shot Sam reminds us he could make us laugh as easily as he made us cry. It's a snapshot of country storytelling right before Nashville polished its edges. And just down the highway, another unforgettable voice was stepping into her own. Number 11, Set Him Free by Skeeter Davis.
Set him free, oh, I love him.
Skeeter Davis brought something fresh to the late 50s, a clear, ringing tone and a sincerity that felt deeply personal.
Set him free, oh, I love him.
Released on RCA in 1959, Set Him Free climbed into the top 5 on the country charts and hinted at the groundbreaking crossover success she'd achieve in the years ahead. This was during a time when women in country music were still fighting to tell their stories directly, without compromise. Davis had originally begun in the Davis Sisters before tragedy struck, and she carried on alone. That shadow of loss lent her voice a gentle ache.
Get over slow. You see, I fell in love with him, and I don't care who knows.
Imagine hearing this on a kitchen radio while washing dishes after supper. Window cracked open, summer breeze rolling in, cicadas humming. It's intimate, like a whispered confession. The legacy? Set Him Free proved that emotional honesty could be powerful without needing heartbreak theatrics.
Set him free, oh, I love him.
It set the stage for her timeless The End of the World just a few years later. And speaking of timeless, Ray Price was refining the sound of smooth heartbreak. Number 10, The Same Old Me by Ray Price.
And the same old me keeps loving you.
By the time Ray Price released The Same Old Me in 1959, he had already become a voice you couldn't mistake. Warm, steady, unmistakably Texan. Recorded on Columbia Records, the song topped the country charts and showcased Price's signature shuffle beat, complete with walking bass and softly crying steel guitar.
It hurt me in an old familiar way.
There's a playful resilience here. The idea that no matter what happens in life, he's still himself. Behind that charm, though, was the real story. Price was actively reshaping Nashville's sound, pushing for smoother arrangements and broader accessibility, even as some traditionalists grumbled that country was changing too much. Picture it playing in a roadside cafe, truckers sipping coffee, locals nodding along, the clink of forks and plates marking time with the rhythm.
And the same
In the years that followed, The Same Old Me became a standard, one of those songs that slips into a room like an old friend. But country music didn't just stay smooth in '59. At the same moment, a young man from Memphis was shaking the walls. Number 9, Big Hunk of Love by Elvis Presley.
Just a big, big, big hunk of love.
Released in the summer of 1959 while Elvis was serving in the U.S. Army, Big Hunk o' Love brought rock and roll swagger right onto country airwaves. Cut in Nashville with legendary session players like Floyd Kramer and Chet Atkinson.
Honey to the top. I ain't greedy, baby. All I want is all you gotta know.
The track hit number 1 and reminded fans Elvis hadn't lost a step, even from overseas. While Elvis was stationed in Germany, the country world buzzed over this wild, driving energy. The recording itself was fast, punchy, almost reckless. It hinted at a world where country, gospel, and rock were no longer separate fences, but cross-pollinating, growing something new.
I got a wishbone in my pocket, got a rabbit's foot around my...
Picture teenagers cruising gravel back roads, windows down, radio crackling, every mile feeling like possibility. The legacy? This song helped open the door for decades of country crossover hits. It showed Nashville that young ears were listening and hungry.
Just a bigger, bigger, bigger hunk of love. Will do.
But before Elvis ever shook up the charts, George Jones was already cooking up something potent. Number 8, White Lightning by George Jones.
White lightning.
White Lightning, released early in 1959, was George Jones' first number 1 hit. And what a way to arrive. Written by the legendary J.P. Richardson, better known as the Big Bopper, the song captured the wild spirit of homemade moonshine, backwoods hustle, and the humor of country life. There's a bittersweet note, though. The Big Bopper had died in the plane crash that also took Buddy Holly and Ritchie Valens just weeks before the song hit the charts. So while listeners laughed and tapped their boots, the shadow of loss stretched quietly behind the lyrics. Imagine stepping into a roadside bar where the air smells like pine and smoke. Someone shouts, "Turn it up," and the whole room comes alive.
Mighty, mighty please, and your Baptist car screams. Shoo, what?
This song didn't just go to number 1, it solidified George Jones as more than a rising star. He was a force of nature. And speaking of voices with quiet power, number 7, Am I That Easy to Forget by Jim Reeves.
Am I that easy to forgive?
Jim Reeves was mastering the art of gentleness. Released in 1959 on RCA Victor, Am I That Easy to Forget reached the top 10 and helped shape the Nashville sound, with its smooth strings and soft vocal phrasing, worlds away from honky-tonk rowdiness.
You say you found somebody new.
Reeves had started as a ball player, then a radio announcer, before stepping up to the mic. That calm confidence carried into his singing. The heartache here isn't loud. It's resigned, reflective, quietly aching.
Yes, I could find somebody new.
Picture a late-night drive on a 2-lane highway, dashboard glowing, headlights cutting through warm summer darkness, and this song floating from the radio like a memory you're not yet ready to let go. The legacy of this track is subtle, but deep. It showed that country music could be elegant without losing its heart.
Before you go, make sure you find.
Reeves didn't shout. He didn't need to. If these classics are bringing back memories, hit that like button and subscribe. We post new country countdowns every week, keeping the golden years of music alive for fans like you. Number 6, Gotta Travel On by Billy Graham.
Police riding after me, and I feel like gotta.
Billy Graham's Gotta Travel On rolled onto the scene in 1959 with a rambling spirit and a melody that felt like motion itself.
I've laid around and played around this old town too long.
Released on Monument Records, it charted across country, pop, and even folk lists. Proof that the late 50s were a time when genres were loosening and listeners were curious. The song traces the idea of moving forward, leaving old troubles behind. It wasn't written in a time of convenience.
High sheriff and police riding after me.
This was bus ticket, suitcase, dusty road traveling. Graham's light, friendly vocal made the journey feel like an adventure instead of a burden. Picture folks humming this tune while gas stations still gave out maps and small towns felt like worlds of their own. The legacy?
I've laid around, played around this old town too long, and
Gotta Travel On became a standard at hootenannies, campfires, and back porch pickings alike. It reminded us that freedom doesn't need fanfare, just a good melody and the open road. Number 5, Waterloo by Stonewall Jackson.
Waterloo, Waterloo.
Stonewall Jackson, one of the few country artists to become a Grand Ole Opry member before signing a major label deal, broke out with Waterloo in 1959.
Every puppy had his day, everybody has to pay.
The song shot to number 1 and crossed into pop charts thanks to its clever idea. We all meet our own Waterloo sooner or later. Behind the upbeat rhythm lies a universal message about pride, fate, and the fall that follows hubris.
Every puppy had his day, everybody has to pay. Everybody.
Listeners connected immediately, not because it was sad, but because it was wise. Picture this one playing at a community picnic, sun high, kids chasing each other around picnic tables, grown-ups tapping toes in the grass. Its legacy remains strong.
Where would you meet your Waterloo?
Waterloo helped cement country's ability to deliver philosophy wrapped in a toe-tapping tune, and now, a song that whispers of what was to come. Number 4, I Fall to Pieces by Patsy Cline. Note, while famously released in 1961, early performances and radio circulation began in late 1959 to 1960. We honor it here as part of the era's emotional landscape. Before it became one of the greatest heartbreak songs in country history, I Fall to Pieces lived quietly in the hands of Patsy Cline, who was just beginning to refine her voice into the torch-like power we remember today.
Each time someone speaks your name.
The song's journey wasn't easy. Some producers doubted the sound, unsure if country was ready for something this gracefully emotional. But Patsy had something no one could imitate: vulnerability worn without shame. Picture this song dimming the noise of a diner, someone pausing mid-bite, someone else staring out a rainy window. It didn't demand attention, it earned it.
But each time I go out,
Its legacy? Eternal. It changed what a country ballad could be, making room for tenderness and quiet devastation. And now, from heartbreak's hush to a cowboy ballad grand as the desert. Number 3, El Paso by Marty Robbins.
I see the white puff of smoke from the rifle. I feel the bullet.
Released in late 1959, El Paso was more than a song. It was a cinematic Western opera told in under 5 minutes.
Deep for this Mexican baby, I was in love but in vain.
Marty Robbins transported listeners straight into the dusty streets of Rosa's Cantina, weaving romance, jealousy, and tragedy into one sweeping narrative. Recorded in Nashville with Grady Martin's iconic guitar lines, it would soon climb to #1. Robbins had always been a storyteller, but El Paso proved just how vivid music could feel.
Many thoughts raced through my mind as I stood there. I had but one.
No chorus, no fluff, just a tale. And listeners followed every word. Picture yourself leaning against a bar stool, hearing this on a jukebox, feeling like you've been dropped into the middle of a frontier diary. Its legacy stretches long.
My love is strong and it pushes me onward, down off the...
Countless artists cite El Paso as proof that lyrics could paint pictures more powerful than film. Now to a song that wrapped sorrow in smooth perfection. #2, Heartaches by the Number by Ray Price.
Yes, I've got heartaches by the number.
Ray Price defined elegance in country music, and Heartaches by the Number is one of his clearest examples. Released in 1959 on Columbia, the song soared to #2 on the country charts.
And heartache #2 was when you come.
While Guy Mitchell's pop version hit #1 nationally. Yet it's Price's version that holds the emotional truth. The song captures heartbreak not as a dramatic crash, but as something that happens again and again in small, wearing waves.
Every day you love me less, each day I love.
Picture this spinning in a quiet living room while someone folds laundry, pauses, sighs, and keeps going. Real-life heartbreak is rarely theatrical, it's ordinary. And that's where this song lives. Its legacy remains one of relatability.
Knock on the door. I waited, but you must.
And that's why it still plays today. And now, the tune that brought history, humor, and pure joy together. #1, The Battle of New Orleans by Johnny Horton.
Yeah, they ran through the briars and they ran through the brambles and they ran through the bushes where a rabbit couldn't.
Johnny Horton had a gift for making history feel alive. The Battle of New Orleans, released in 1959, hit #1 on both the country and pop charts.
In 1814 we took a little trip along with Colonel Jackson down the mighty Mississippi.
And became one of the defining hits of the decade. With its lively beat and spirited storytelling, it turned a long-ago war tale into something listeners could dance to.
We fired our guns and the British kept a-coming. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago.
Horton recorded it with a wink, full of personality. But underneath was a craftsman who respected the art of narrative songwriting. He bridged the gap between folk tradition and modern country radio.
Fired our guns and the British kept a-coming. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago.
Picture families gathered around a big wooden console radio, laughing and singing along. It united generations. Its legacy is simple: joy, rhythm, and the celebration of storytelling that feels timeless. If you've enjoyed this trip back in time, don't forget to like and subscribe for more country classics every week. And there you have it. 12 unforgettable songs from 1959, a year when country music was bold, curious, and full of life. From honky-tonk humor to heartfelt confession, from Western tales to smooth Nashville elegance, these songs showed that country music could be anything it needed to be, and still speak straight to the soul. Thank you for spending this time remembering, humming along, and maybe even dancing a little. Don't miss our next video, 1960, Country Songs We'll Never Forget, where the new decade brings new legends, new sounds, and some of the most iconic recordings in history. Until then, keep the music close.